data science tutorial on Tute Fulcrum. Python has gathered a lot of interest recently as a choice of language for data analysis. Python is an open source, interpreted, high-level programming language. So what's an interpreted programming language? So we have seen multiple compiled languages. So we have done the C++ tutorial. So if you look at C++, it's a compiled programming language. So what's the difference between a compiled programming language and an interpreted language? Let me give you a simple example to understand this. I came across this example in an article, so thought of sharing with you the same. It's like this. You think that you have a recipe with you for a food that you're going to prepare, but the recipe is in an unknown language. Say for example, Spanish. You doesn't know Spanish, but the recipe that you have with you is in Spanish language. So what will you do? You have multiple ways to tackle this. Let's say, suppose if this is translated to English, you're familiar with English language, and if this is translated, and you could look at with the English translated version of the recipe and you can cook your food. Here the translated English recipe is the compiled version of your language. Another way is you could have a friend who is familiar with the language, Spanish language. So you could call him, he could sit with you and translate line by line. You could look at your friend as your interpreter. So this is what the interpreter programming language does. That is what Python is doing. Now, what are the features of Python? What makes Python so popular? Let's see it in a couple of times. And in this tutorial, this is mainly for the data science domain. So we will be concentrating more on Python features that is helpful for the data science domain. We'll be looking to the packages and modules that widely used in the data science domain. We'll be discussing about NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and other functions that is widely used for the data science domain. So let's get started. This session is on Introduction to Python. So here we'll be discussing the features of Python, what makes it so popular, the installation of Python, and familiarizing the working environment. Here are some reasons which go in favor of learning Python. Python is an open source free software which does not cost anything to the user to download and use your Python. Python has got an awesome online community supported by vast standard libraries. It's easy to learn. It has got an elegant syntax. It's simple to read. It's more close to the English communication language that we use. For example, let's take a comparison between two languages. So we are familiarized with the C++ language, and let's take a comparison between C++ and Python syntactically. Let's say we are going to print a statement. Let's say we want to print Tute Fulcrum. So how do we do the same using the C++ programming language? We need to include the IO stream. We need to have the standard namespace, and then we use the cout statement to print Tute Fulcrum. Whereas the same task could be done using just a single statement print using Python. So it's very easy to learn Python. Let me guide you through installing Python. There are two approaches to install Python. You can download Python directly visiting www.python.org and install the individual components and libraries you want. Alternately, you can download and install a package which comes with pre-installed libraries. I would recommend downloading Anaconda. It's a distribution that gives all the libraries. We have NumPy, Pandas, etc. Anaconda gives this together. We don't need to install separately. So for installing the same, visit www.anaconda.org. Now we need to choose a development environment.
I prefer Jupyter Notebook. It's a browser-based interpreter that allows us to interactively work with Python. So this is how the Anaconda working environment looks like. So as said, I'm using the Jupyter Notebook here. I have a notebook for Python 3. So you have to hit on this button, launch. So to get started with the Jupyter Notebook, suppose if you want to open a new notebook, hit on this new button. You have the option Python 3 notebook, hit on that. So this opens up a new notebook where you can write your code. So now this has opened up an untitled Python 3 notebook. So you can rename your notebook, hit on the file button. You have an option rename. So here you can give a new name to your Python notebook. Let me give it as practice. Now rename. So now you could see here your notebook is named as practice. Now within this cell you can write your code. Let's say for example we have seen the print function. Suppose if you want to print tut fulcrum. So whatever the code, the script you can write within this cell, and let's see how to execute this. The technicalities of the print function, how you give your string, everything will be discussed in detail. This is just now to familiarize how to work with the Python 3 notebook. So once you have done your code, you could run the cell. You can hit the run button. So this executes the cell and move to a new cell. So there are shortcut keys available here. To view the shortcuts, you can hit the help button. So here you could see the keyboard shortcuts. So this gives you the list of keyboard shortcuts available. So if you want to execute a cell, the shortcut that we use here is Shift Enter. So this will execute the particular cell and then move to the next cell. Now you have an insert option here where you could insert your new cell. You could insert it above or below. So if you hit this insert cell above, this will insert a new cell above. Same way if you select insert cell below, this will insert a new cell below. Now, before you execute a cell, make sure that the option here is code. So if this is code, the statements here within the cell will be taken as your Python commands to perform specific task. Else, you have another option available here, Markdown. Markdown is for documentation purpose. So that statement will not be executed, or that is not the Python commands, it is just for the documentation purpose. You can comment your programs. So suppose if I give here like Python for data science tutorial, I'm saying day 1. And if I run this, that is Shift Enter, you could see here this is not your code. It's a command that you have given to your code to understand what you are doing here. So this is for the documentation purpose. So you could either keep this, if this is markdown, it's you are commenting the program. If it is code, that will be your Python code to perform specific task. So keep these points in mind when you use your Jupyter Notebook. So we'll be using the Python 3 Jupyter Notebook throughout this tutorial. So these are the very basic things that you should know when you handle your Jupyter Notebook. There are much more that we will see as we proceed in our sessions. The programming concepts, programs, we will see in the next session. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe, and please don't forget to tap the bell icon. You'll get notified whenever we upload a new videos. Thank you.